Welcome to Experience the People, the podcast I created to connect with individuals on a meaningful level. I'm your host, John Lasky, and I get to sit down and have sincere conversations with people who share everything from their inspiring stories and tragic mistakes to passion projects and life lessons in a relatable and transparent way that allows you to experience the people. My first guest is a special one. He is an amazing chef and entrepreneur, on top of being a husband and a father. He has the biggest heart of anyone I have ever met, and he happens to be my brother. Join me for this week's sit down with Andrew Chambers. All right, man, and we're live.
What's going on?
Hey, man, how's it going? Experience the people.
This is cool, man.
Yeah, we're all set up, ready to go.
Let's go.
First episode. Andrew Chambers.
Yes,
Welcome.
sir. Yes, sir.
First guest ever. Glad to have you on.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be had.
You my brother, man.
You my brother, man.
How long we known each other now?
I don't know, man. How long? Like, what year is this? How long you been married?
I've been married 7 years.
So we've known each other like 7, 8 years.
Yeah. Right before we got married.
Yeah, right before you got married.
Yeah, because y'all were at the wedding.
Yep. But I've known Catherine a decade or better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Man. I'm sitting here thinking about 8 years. That's all we've known each other, and we're blood.
We blood, right? We're pretty
blood.
attached.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll take it.
It's awesome. I want to talk about you, man. I want to talk about you.
So what's up?
What's been going on lately? Tell me what's been going on lately in your life.
Lately, it's been just a lot of new and a lot of grinding it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes in life, there's just seasons where you gotta make things happen.
Right.
I think we're in one of those seasons right now.
By we, you mean?
Me, my wife, the kids, my family,
Yeah.
me and you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but we're making that happen, man.
That's awesome. I mean, Pink's Barbecue, bro.
Yeah, Pink's
Barbecue, bro.
Pink's Barbecue.
You know what I'm saying?
Pink's, yeah.
We got to pump it up.
Yeah, Pink's is our barbecue company. It's a mobile barbecue restaurant and caterer.
Yeah.
So we do barbecue from a global perspective.
Right.
So when you eat our barbecue, you will experience a lot of the barbecue that everybody knows, like pulled pork and ribs and brisket, but you also get the world aspect, global aspect. People have been cooking with fire and wood since caveman days, and they do it all over the world, you know, so
Right.
when we were developing our concept, we just kind of felt like we need to highlight that barbecue isn't just checker tablecloths and styrofoam containers, you know?
Right.
It's literally using wood, fire, and smoke
Yeah.
to flavor ingredients, and, you know, we just believe barbecue represents family and community, so that's what we're trying to do.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And it's worldwide. You know, like barbecue's worldwide. People have been
Barbecue's
barbecuing all
worldwide.
over the world.
You know?
I sit here and think about, oh, there's Southern barbecue, there's Kansas City barbecue, there's Carolina barbecue,
Right.
whatever, Texas, you know? But it's a
Right.
worldwide thing.
It's a worldwide thing, man. Like, it's Japanese, you know, you have A lot of Japanese people are wicked on the grill.
Yeah.
You know, yakitori and in India and Jamaica and South America and it's all over the place, man. Everybody cooks with wood and fire.
Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
Is that legit from Korea, or is that like just some made-up American?
No, it's legitimate. Like in Korea, it's a thing. Like they bring you raw ingredients.
Yeah.
And in Korea, it's big on accompaniments, different things to go with your barbecue, and it's big community. You know, you sit around the table, just like here.
Right.
There's a little grill, and everyone just grills whatever the way they like, and sit and talk and commune and drink and do whatever, man.
Yeah,
it's a
that's
thing.
awesome.
It's a thing.
That's awesome. So, barbecue is a worldwide thing. You've done a lot of worldwide traveling. I'd say, compared to me, you've done a lot. You know what I mean?
We want to do a lot more though, but yeah, I've been blessed enough to see a few places.
Yeah. So, in those travels, have you like gained experience or like taken inspiration from those worldwide travels? Would you say, or like, would you say that Pink's is geared, not necessarily geared, but inspired by
Pink's definitely
some of the worldwide travel you've done?
Pink's definitely influence does come from places I've been and things I've seen and research I've done. You know, I'm a first-generation American myself. You know, my family's from Jamaica, and so barbecue's really big in Jamaica. And so Pink's is the culmination of all of that.
Yeah.
I definitely, whenever we travel, I'm definitely looking for food. I'm definitely seeing how they do it. And I'm definitely, you know, ever since we started Pink's, I'm definitely looking for a grill and seeing what they're doing around it and how they do it.
Really?
Yeah, always. I try and look and see the seasonings and the spices and definitely techniques, you know. I don't think, a lot of times in America, when you meet barbecue people, it's just like, everyone's real romantic about their barbecue and they make the best barbecue and they have the best sauce and the best rub and the way they do it is the best.
Right.
You know, people have called my barbecue world-class barbecue. And, you know, the first time I heard that, I was just like, for real? And I think I was shocked just because I'm not some romantic guy about barbecue. Like, one day, I just had this desire to start barbecuing and learn it. And so me and some friends, we bought a smoker, and I just started trying.
How old were you?
I was grown, man. So this was 2014, so 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
So like early 30s.
Right around the time we met.
Yeah, right around the time we met.
Yeah.
Early 30s.
So you got into smoking and then started Pink's.
Absolutely.
Really?
It's kind of simultaneous.
I mean, you've been cooking forever. I just
I've been
like
cooking
smoking specifically.
I've been cooking forever. Growing up, you know, we were always around the grill. You know, like I said, Jamaicans grill.
Right.
So there was always a grill present. But for me, really diving into it, I wanted to do it. I've been thinking about it. Gwen and I and some friends were sitting around one night. By the end of the night, we picked the smoker out. By the end of the week, we bought the smoker. And by the end of the weekend, I put some meat on the smoker. And that was in 2014. And from then till today, we've just been crafting it. And it happens to be something I'm good at. I'm not romantic about it. Like, I'm not that guy that is like, ooh, I love barbecue. But it's something that I've grown to love. And people tell me I'm good at it. So if I can keep producing something good and giving people experiences and, you know, maybe make a little money doing it, that's what we're going to keep doing.
Yeah. I love your barbecue. I call it world class. I would for sure.
Yeah.
And I love the new setup, the new cooker you have has that open flame grill on it, which is awesome. Yeah,
you know, that even the new grill, it's my Santa Maria style grill, Argentinian or South American in design.
Really?
Yeah, you know.
I didn't know that.
they in South America, they're big on two things: the raising and the lowering of the grates for temperature control and so on and so forth, and the angle iron grates that help prevent flare-ups, because as the fat renders off of your proteins, the angle iron grates catch the fat and let it drip down into a trough, and because that fat isn't dripping onto your fire, there's less flare-ups, less burning, things of that nature. So it's good for temperature control as well. So I like it, man.
Science.
Yeah.
Like those little nuances about the grill
that you know
set it apart.
And it's nothing
and
that
the look of it too, by the way.
It's cool, you know, and it's all just like you said, traveling. We travel a lot and we eat out a lot.
Yeah.
And so it was just a lot of traveling, seeing what they're doing, watching, going to different restaurants, eating their food, going to different restaurants, going to different YouTube channels, hearing about things, seeing things, and being like, yeah, I get that. You know, one of the things I hated the most when I was learning how to grill on my old, I still got a Weber kettle grill, is flare-ups. If your grill starts, anyone who's ever cooked on any kind of grill, you know the horror story of when your grill starts flaring up. Yeah. And it seems like it's getting away from you. You know 100%. What I mean? 100%. That daggone Argentinian grill out there, man, with them angle iron grates. It don't hardly flare up. It don't flare up, man. You cooked on it.
I cooked on it.
Hamburgers.
Dude.
How was the flaring up? It was covered in hamburgers.
Covered in hamburgers. I cooked 40?
Yeah.
I think I was cooking for a party for my wife's family, so I mean.
And how did it cook?
Great.
It was a different experience, right?
It was perfect. No flare-ups. None.
I had never cooked on one myself.
Yeah.
But I saw it made sense to me. I've seen other people cook on them in restaurants and on YouTube and stuff. So when I was designing my rig, I was like, I gotta have one of those.
You gotta have one of those.
Yeah, so actually when we're done talking tonight, I'm gonna cook on it. I think for the first or second time tonight.
What are you cooking tonight?
Tonight I'm gonna grill some chickens.
Yeah?
Just
jerk chicken?
No, just some grilled chicken.
Dude, when I was cooking those burgers.
Yeah.
And your boy Isaiah was there.
Yeah.
With that jerk chicken, that whole jerk.
Yeah.
It was a whole jerk chicken, right? Like spread out just over the open flame, cooking on the same grill as me. I was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is spectacular. I was cooking on this world-class grill, in my opinion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm cooking these frozen Bubba burgers next to this amazing jerk chicken that's like strung up and like hanging. It just looks so good. I felt so out of place, but I was really honored.
You cooked on it before me.
Yeah.
But you were able to cook on it before me. You had a lot to do with that grill, though, being out there. Yeah. So, you know, I felt like it was only right. I didn't mind it. Maybe not someone else, but you can cook on it first.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Remember when I wanted to go finance my grill and you were like, nah, Drew, just be patient.
Yeah.
If I would have financed it, if I would have went and bought something somebody else had, I wouldn't have that grill. I couldn't afford to buy retail what I got.
Right.
But I listened to you and I was just patient and put it together. You were there the whole step of the way.
Yeah.
We built that thing piece by piece by piece.
Yeah.
And you know, I got a little money, bought this, got a little money, bought that. And because we did it that way, I was able to have something that's really cool.
What I really didn't want is for you to end up in that same situation you were in before. You know?
Which one?
When you started Pink's, you know, before.
Yeah.
And you've rebranded. Let's be honest about it, right? Like you had that.
The name is the same, but Pink's is different now from initially,
Yeah. So from when you initially started it with those friends, and you guys went your separate ways, and you kind of rebranded Pink's. You kept the name, but you updated everything. You got the new smoker. That breakup was so bad. I didn't want you to be in another position like that where you felt, you know. I didn't want you to end up empty-handed or like betrayed or. You know what I'm saying?
You wanted it to be all mine.
I wanted it to be all yours. I wanted it to be all yours. Just like this.
Yeah.
And you encouraged me to do that.
Yeah.
You encouraged it to be all me, this experience, the people.
Yeah. So That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I have partners now, you know, but it's on me. I cruise the ship.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's you. Everything is you.
Yeah.
You make the decisions, and I think
make the
that's
decisions.
Awesome.
You know, I think, you know, I got a great team with me. You know, either directly or indirectly. But yeah, I'm the captain of the ship.
You do have a great team.
Yeah, you know, we're growing and we're learning and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, there's some mess ups. But
Your wife, man.
There's some victories. My wife runs the show.
Your wife.
I steer the ship, but she tells me where we're going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When she throws down in the kitchen, though.
Yeah. 2 chefs.
Yeah.
We met in culinary school.
That's where you met.
We met in culinary school.
The same culinary school?
Yeah.
You went to the same culinary school? Wow.
Yeah, she finished. I didn't.
Did you ever finish culinary school?
No, man. I mean, yeah, I went to a school of hard knocks.
Really?
I jumped out of traditional culinary school. I did go to we both went to one of the best culinary schools. I think the best culinary school there is, Johnson & Wales in Miami. Shout out to Johnson & Wales.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just too expensive. So at the time, my parents owned a convenience store, and it had a kitchen in it. So I was like, yo, Ma, Dad, I'm going to cook some food. You'll buy the food?
No.
You know,
that's where you got your entrepreneur start. Like,
well, you know, I come from.
Was that your first, like, cooking business?
Yes.
That was your first job?
It was.
Or your first
cooking business for myself
of your own, where you were working for yourself.
Yeah, you know, my parents' store was at one of the busiest intersections in all of Miami, in North Miami, Florida. Yeah, and
is it still there?
Now it's a Papa John's.
No.
So that goes to tell you how good the location is, because Papa John's just isn't going anywhere.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. You don't see a big chain like Papa John's.
Just anywhere.
Right.
It is a Papa John's right now.
You don't see them going out of business.
And you don't see them going out of business. And so
they're obviously picking good locations.
Before it was Papa John's, it was us.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so.
That's so cool. I didn't know that was your first, like...
Yeah, cooking, you know.
Self-employed cooking business.
It was.
That's awesome.
It was.
Out of your mom and dad's shop.
Yeah, you know, I wish it would have worked out, but, you know, sometimes there can only be one chef in the kitchen. And my dad's the chef of everything. So,
yeah.
You know, we had to part ways, but...
Well, speaking of your dad.
Yeah.
Just while we're on the topic.
Yeah.
Tell me what it was like growing up with your mom and dad. You're the youngest of 6.
I'm the youngest of 6 kids. Yeah.
You're the youngest of 6.
Uh-huh.
How close in age is your next sibling?
6 years.
6 years. And that's Sophie.
That's Sophie. My sister. She lives in Miami. And then I have a brother older than her. And then we had a sister who has passed away. Then I have a brother who lives down the street in Georgia, and I had another sister who was older than him. But between me and the oldest, there were 17 years.
17
years. Yeah.
So was she out of the house or close to being out of the house when you were born?
I never lived with her as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was always out of the house. When I moved to Georgia, I actually lived with her for a little bit, but yeah, we never lived in the same house growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to her?
She's gone. She passed away.
She passed away as well. So you've got 2 sisters.
I've lost 2 sisters. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And you're not even 40 yet.
Not
You've
yet.
lost 2 siblings.
Yeah. We lost 2 siblings, I think, within I think my parents lost 2 kids within 5 years. Yeah.
But your parents, okay, so there's 17 years between you and your oldest sibling. So your parents were kind of older when they had you.
Yeah, my dad was 40 when he had me.
Yeah.
My parents, when they had me, are pretty much the age that Gwen and I are now.
Okay.
It's kind of sobering.
And they're both Jamaican. They're both from Jamaica.
Yep. Born and raised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they have any kids before they came here?
My mom did.
Your mother had a child?
Yeah, my mom came to a marriage with 3 kids, and then they had 3 more kids.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, we never did that step or half or anything, you know, like your house. Yeah. Those are my brothers and sisters.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Right. Wow. What was that like growing up with Jamaican parents, a Jamaican dad?
When you got Jamaican parents, Jamaican brothers and sisters, it's like, for me, it's like having, 7 parents.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely a do as I say, not as I do type of situation.
I see.
But, I wouldn't change it for anything. There was a lot of good stuff. There was some harder stuff, but I feel like the hard stuff, I love the good stuff. Yeah. And I feel like the hard stuff has enabled me to endure as an adult and just coming up. When I meet people and I see how people are raised and so on and so forth, my background is definitely more rigid. There was less room for error, but at the same time, I feel like it shaped me to be who I am. It shaped me to be persistent.
Right.
Yeah, so
That's what I always talk about with people. Like some of those hard times, those hardships, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. I mean, if we didn't go through it, we wouldn't be who we are today. So if we like who we are today.
Yeah, just don't never fold. We just can't never fold.
Yeah, yeah.
Just can't never fold. And, growing up, my dad always used to say, be consistent.
Yeah.
He didn't care if you could do it. He would always ask, can you do it again?
Yeah.
Be consistent.
Yeah.
My mom used to say, if I had to think about my childhood and think about lessons, it was work hard, tell the truth, be consistent, and improvise. Know how to improvise. And when I think of improvising, I just think of make it happen. Know how to make it happen regardless. If you got to make it happen, make it happen.
Right. Whatever you got.
Make it happen. Use what you got to make it happen.
Yeah.
My parents came to this country, American dream story, man. They came here with nothing.
Right.
And I lived a good life, bro. I didn't want for nothing. So to come to this country from a third world country with nothing, and, my parents have been millionaires, so
yeah,
they made it happen.
So impressive. That's so impressive.
Yeah.
But to watch your dad's initiative, right? Because your dad was the breadwinner.
The primary, but both my parents was go-getters, though.
They were?
Yeah.
Well, they ran the store together, right? And stuff like that.
Yeah, and, they had careers of their own and stuff like that.
But, your dad's career, I find it so interesting, dude.
Yeah.
The paint.
Yeah.
The paint, right? He's like a paint chemist? What do you call that?
He's a chemist.
He's a chemist.
A self-taught chemist, though. Never been to college.
For paint? It has something to do with paint, right?
And art manufacturing materials, yeah.
Like designing different paints.
Paint, ink, lacquers, glue. Yeah.
That's so fascinating. And he's still doing that?
He slowed down the last, couple years, just because of age and health and stuff like that. But up until he's 80 years old, up until 2 years ago, he was full throttle in it, man.
When did he pick that up? Like, when did he become a chemist? Like, I know you've told me the story about him working at like the chemistry lab or whatever, and he was mopping floors or something. He would hang around and watch. He would learn.
Yeah, I think he started as like the helper.
Yeah. Okay. So he was like a gopher or something.
Yeah, kind of something like that,
and he just learned that way.
And he would just pay attention to what the chemists and the other guys were doing.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're asking questions, and he knew the answer. And then that would turn into, Godfrey, can you help us with this?
Oh, man.
And then that thing dominoed until now he's running plants and things like that,
That's
and
so crazy.
Making, huge pots of paint.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and he's the stuff.
Was that like a job he got when he like first came over here from Jamaica or something, or was it just down the road?
No, I think it was down the road. Of course, when he first got here, he had the grind, the hustle jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember my dad used to tell us all the time. My parents would tell us that they had whatever jobs they had, and then they would roast peanuts. They would roast peanuts in the kitchen at their house at night, and then drive around to bars and wherever, bowling alleys and stuff, and sell roasted peanuts as a side hustle.
No way.
Yeah, and then I know my dad was a food chemist for a while, for like Lipton, the company Lipton. Yeah, so he used to make bubble gum and peanut stuff and stuff like that. I think I was too young to really know the ins and outs of it, but I know. Excuse me. He told me he was a food chemist for a while. Thinks he can tell me a lot about food because of that,
Yeah.
And then at some point he made the transition to art manufacturing. He used to work with Bob Ross. He used to make paints for Bob Ross.
Stop.
I think he has a couple patents for Bob Ross paints and stuff too.
No way.
Yeah, man. Bob Ross Happy Trees,
Of course I know who Bob Ross is,
Yeah.
man.
My dad, in his industry, in his field, he's known. He's the stuff.
Wow.
He was for a long time.
I find that so fascinating.
I remember as a kid.
So fascinating.
I remember as a kid, we'd get sometimes random calls in the middle of the night, and it would be some ink manufacturer, paint manufacturer in like India or something had some problem, and
What?
Godfrey's getting emergency, quality control calls from across the sea to fix some paint and stuff.
That's so funny, man.
Yeah, man.
I had no idea. I didn't know it was like that for
It's
him.
it was a.
I didn't know it was like that for
Here's
him.
the stuff, man.
That's so cool.
Yeah, people pay them a lot of money to make their art stuff.
What an interesting field.
Yeah, you meet a lot of artists, quirky people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're around a lot of chemists and stuff, which are interesting people in their own right. And my dad always reported like directly to the owners or directly to the board, so you're always meeting those type of people too.
Yeah, you're always. I would have to think your dad would always be engaged with like highly intelligent people.
Always.
And
I've always been around highly intelligent people.
Right.
Yeah.
And I always find like when I engage in conversation with highly intelligent people, I generally start sounding smarter.
Right. Right.
Or when I engage in conversation with dumb people,
Right.
I sound a lot dumber. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And my parents' rule was always.
You got to grow up in that.
Yeah, my parents' rule was always don't embarrass us.
Really?
Do not embarrass us.
Period.
And so these people, they would bring us to work with them, or we'd have to. People would come to the house or come to different functions or whatever.
Right.
And
best behavior.
Best behavior, but we're sitting there and we're hearing people talk, and sometimes they'll ask you to chime in, and you can't sound stupid or whatever. Like
That's true.
So, yeah, man.
Especially if your dad is well known in the industry and like,
or
you're his son. Hey,
he's reporting to the owner of a multi-million-dollar company. You're not going to embarrass him.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's kind of weighty.
We didn't think about it. It was just our life,
Yeah.
Now this is the first time I'm really articulating some of this stuff, so I'm thinking about it now like, wow, as we talk, I'm just like, oh, that's interesting.
Was it different, do you think? Like, do you think being the youngest out of 6 kids shaped you in any sort of way? Like being the youngest, being the baby, do you think it was different for you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
In what way?
So
the youngest of 6 kids, especially.
So here's the thing. I came along later. And so financially, my parents were at a better place by the time I was coming up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My siblings are much older than me, so even in some cases, they were coming into stuff. So I never really ever wanted for anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was always there, or it could get there.
Yeah. And you had siblings that were there for you?
As much as they could be.
Yeah.
But You know, my parents were also intense. They could be intense. I'm not going to sit here and bash them, but it was definitely intense. So as the youngest, it was kind of rough sometimes too, just because everyone was gone. My sister, who's above me, who's 6 years older than me, she left the house for boarding school at 14.
Never came back?
Other than like breaks and stuff, no.
Wow.
And so from the time I was 8 on, it was just me with the parents. And so that could be intense at times, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was like I had all these brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews, but...
Yeah, you got a nephew like almost your age, right?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Yeah.
I have a nephew older than me by a few months.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, and I have a nephew that's a little bit younger than me, but... So they were there, but it was like intermittent.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Youngest of 6, and you only had like siblings in the house with you until you were 8 years old.
Yeah.
Do you feel like maybe because you were the 6th kid that you got away with a lot more, or no?
My siblings say so.
Yeah. Like you, because you're the baby or something?
Yeah, my siblings say so, and they're probably not wrong, but it was potato for me. Like, yeah, maybe I got away with some stuff, but there was no buffer when the foolishness came.
Yeah, that's...
You know what I mean? Y'all had each other to buff.
Yeah.
For me, there was no buffer.
Well, from a parent's perspective now, like looking back on it, I think my parents were almost just more wise to my stuff because my sister.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they could catch on to what I was going to do quicker.
Yeah.
Or something. Like they were just more experienced parents.
There's definitely a lot of that.
And,
but see, I was a kid, I didn't care though.
Yeah.
Like
you didn't care?
Once I made it up in my mind, like I knew very early on the concept of cost-benefit analysis. And so once I made it up in my mind
Yeah.
that I was willing to deal with the cost,
Yeah.
whatever it was, I didn't care. I did what I wanted.
Were your parents like pretty predictable when it came to like the punishments? Like, did you pretty much know if I do X,
Yeah,
my punishment's
definitely.
going to be Y?
Definitely. They were. My parents
consistent.
didn't play, man.
Yeah.
So it wasn't hard to.
Was it a whooping every time? Pretty much. No.
Yeah, I've always known what
Grounding.
No, it wasn't going to be fun.
No.
Period.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I know what leather feels like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Godfrey didn't play no games.
Yeah, today, by today's standards, you know, beatings are taboo, whoopings are taboo.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in that era.
Right. Yeah. I did not either.
Yeah.
No, I want to touch on your sisters who have passed real quick, if that's okay.
Yeah.
One you have that passed away from AIDS.
She was sick. Yeah.
I didn't know that. She was sick with AIDS.
Uh-huh.
I mean, obviously, most people don't die from AIDS, but...
Right.
Whatever. How was that? How was that experience? Like, were you around for it? Were you close with her? Like, did you know she had AIDS, or...?
Yeah, you know, I found out she had AIDS being nosy. One night One night when I was real young, she called the house and asked to speak to my parents. And it was weird. I just remember it being weird the time that she called.
Yeah.
And so it's like I shouted. This is back in the day of landline. So I shouted up the stairs or went upstairs like, Sharon's on the phone.
Yeah.
And then I never hung up the phone. I went back downstairs and listened. And I remember her telling my parents. And back then, you know, HIV was just a death sentence. So I just remember that conversation being awkward. After I heard it, I just hung up.
Did you understand it? How old were you?
I was a kid, man. I can't remember exactly how old, but...
Did you understand what AIDS was at the time? Like, did you know what it was? You knew it was a disease.
I knew Magic Johnson had it.
Yeah.
I think I knew Magic Johnson had it. I knew, and like I said, back then it was a death sentence, so you heard it. And
so you knew that?
Yeah, I'm like, dang, my sister's gonna die.
Yeah.
But I think she lied about how she got it. initially, but fact of the matter is,
neither here nor there.
Fact of the matter is, she got it, and it was crazy. So she got it just by pretty much running the streets, and then she turned her life around.
Really?
She turned her life around. She disappeared for a few years, and then when she came back, she was different. And she gave her life to the Lord. She started a business, became a millionaire.
Really?
And, bad circumstances, unfortunately, ultimately, bad people lost the business. Because of that, she lost a lot of money. She spent a lot of her reserves trying to get her business back.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, through that, was unable to pay for her medication anymore. And, that's the
that sucks.
Abbreviated story.
Dude, from millionaire to not being able to afford your medication.
From street kid to pastor to a millionaire to you can't afford your medication. Yeah.
Jeez.
Her life by itself could be a good movie. Yeah.
That's intense.
Yep, it was intense.
What about your other sister?
My other sister, honestly, she was estranged from the family when she passed, so
really?
Not by our choice. She estranged herself, but
did you guys have a funeral for her? Like, did you find out she passed? Or
yeah. We had a funeral
before you found out.
We had the funeral for her and all that, but
okay. It wasn't like years past or something.
No.
Praise God.
She has a son, and my nephew's in our lives, so
yeah.
But in any case, we have our suspicions, but we don't actually know, or at least I don't actually know her cause of death. But
really?
Yeah, but that was heartbreaking because for years and years and years, I think like a decade, there was this hope.
Yeah.
That there would be a reconciliation, that my sister would come back. She was the fun one.
Yeah.
She was like the textbook big sister. Like if you sit there and think about what you would want your big sister to be.
Yeah.
She was that.
Is she the oldest or the third oldest?
She's the second oldest girl. She's the
second oldest girl, right? She's third in the
Sharon, Mike. No, Sharon. Yeah, she would have been the third oldest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And her name's Judith.
Yeah. But so when she passed, the most heartbreaking thing was the hope was gone.
Yeah.
But my memories of her, I just try and remember the good stuff, I have a nephew from her.
Yeah, were you grown when she passed?
Uh-huh. Okay. I lived in Georgia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was here already.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Man. But she was still estranged.
Yeah.
Wow.
She estranged herself when I was 18.
Oh, man.
Yeah. She died when I was 28, 29, 30, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
I miss her, man. I miss them both. But I remember as a kid, because I'm the youngest and because it was like having a bunch of parents, I remember praying to have a little brother, a little sister.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember really. I didn't even know if I knew I was praying because I didn't grow up in the saved background or whatever, but I just remember wanting a little brother or sister.
Right.
And at some point, those desires just went away, obviously, because it's like, well, that ain't happening. But I came to Georgia, man, and the Lord gave me my siblings.
Yeah.
He gave me you. He gave me a couple other. So,
yeah.
I have some little sisters that I love dearly. You know what I mean? And they're as good as blood to me. And I have Sophie.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're real close with Sophie.
Super.
You and Sophie.
She's like a sister mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love whenever I get the chance to say hey to her.
Yeah.
You know?
She's it, man. I can't even think about her too much. I start crying.
Yeah. So, we're going to shift gears. We're going to go on to, you went to college. Like, you got through high school.
Yeah.
You went to college.
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Which time did you meet Gwen?
The second time.
The second time?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
In culinary school in Miami.
In Miami, yep.
Yeah.
So, I went to college. I graduated high school in 2000. So in 2000, I went to college in Ohio. And I was there from 2000 to I think roughly 2003. And I had to abruptly leave Ohio. And then probably 6 weeks later, I decided I wasn't going back to Ohio. So I found myself in Miami. And I stumbled upon culinary school.
Really?
Yeah, I stumbled upon it, man. I was sitting at home.
You had not cooked before?
Not professionally.
Yeah.
No. I was sitting at home in Miami in this like limbo, like, okay, I'm in Miami now, what am I going to do kind of phase.
Right.
And you remember Emeril Lagasse?
Of course.
Bam.
Yeah.
It was like his heyday. My mom, I'm sitting there, and my mom is.
I'm just remembering.
You remember
this?
My mom walks in and she's like, "Hey, the culinary school that Emeril went to is down the street. You want to go on the tour?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Emeril's cool." You know, this is back when it's Emeril and food shows are just now starting to get big. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we can go tour it. I'm not thinking nothing about it, bro. I'm like, let's go. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
So we went, and we toured it, and I came home. And I'd never seen anything like it, but it was cool, but that was that. So maybe a month later, a few weeks later, something, I can't remember the timeline, but my nephew called me, and he was like, oh, maybe this is before, yeah. So I went on that tour before I decided I wasn't going back to Ohio. Mm-hmm. Because my nephew called me and he said, some lady from some school in Miami called and said they wanted to give you a scholarship. And it was Johnson & Wales, and they gave me they used the information card that I filled out that day.
No way.
As like my application.
No way.
And they gave me a couple dollars for a scholarship, and case of ramen, I went to culinary school for a year.
Is that what lit your fire? Like, is that...
When I got the scholarship, it was like, I've always cooked. Cooking has always been a part of my life.
Yeah.
I guess I could see myself doing it.
Yeah.
You know? And so, I always tell people, culinary school didn't teach me how to cook. It just taught me the why behind cooking. You know what I'm saying?
Explain that a little bit more.
So
that's interesting.
So, like, let's take if I'm browning a piece of chicken in a cast iron skillet, I have browned chicken more times than I can count. You know what I mean?
Right.
But culinary school taught me what was going on in the pan. Why the chicken was browning. Why do you brown the chicken? You see what I'm saying?
I got you. Okay.
I've been seasoning meat my whole life.
Yeah.
That was like a chore as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, season the meat before we get home.
Yeah. Why are you seasoning it with those?
Culinary school taught me what the seasoning the meat in advance, marinating, was doing to the end result. You know what I mean? So I just tell people it taught me the why. My daddy had already taught me how to cook. By the way, Godfrey Chambers in his heyday, best chef ever.
Yeah.
I give him all the credit.
Really?
Yeah, I learned how to cook
best
from
chef ever.
Period.
That's saying a lot, man.
To me, I give him the credit.
He was a food chemist, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
But he knew how to cook though, for real.
he just threw down in the kitchen.
He knew how to throw down.
Yeah.
You know, when the first time Gwen ever had Thanksgiving with my family, she said she had never seen anything like it, man.
Really?
Yeah, because it was a spread. You know,
Thanksgiving?
You ain't never seen Thanksgiving like a Chambers Thanksgiving back in the day.
Yo, what's a Jamaican Thanksgiving dinner like?
Everything Jamaican that you like on the table, and everything Thanksgiving that you like on the table.
Really, both?
Yeah,
that's how it was for y'all.
That's how we did it.
Turkey, ham.
It was everything, man.
Everything.
Everything.
Plus
curry,
all the Jamaican
curry
food.
goat, oxtails.
Yeah. Fish.
Fish. I mean, you're eating for 2-3 days straight, bro. Straight eating. We always had 2 tables covered in food. We had the dining room table, which was the long 8-seated table covered in food, and then there was the kitchen table and counters covered in food. Man. Yeah, we were fatted out for Thanksgiving.
Give me some of that.
Thanksgiving's that's why Thanksgiving still to this day is my favorite holiday, period.
Give me some of that.
Yeah. The first time Gwen saw it, she was like,
it's your favorite holiday.
Period. I think now since I have kids, maybe my kids' birthdays.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's so awesome.
Calendar holidays, Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is it.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I mean, that's the chef's holiday, right?
I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to pick one for a chef, yeah. I guess so. Because the whole thing is around eating.
Not just that, but fellowship.
Fellowship, yes. Yeah. But the food. Like Christmas, for you say Christmas, I think presents.
And you
say 4th of July, I think fireworks.
Yeah. Thanksgiving.
You say Easter, eggs, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Thanksgiving, I think food.
Feast.
That's it.
Feast. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when did you start that cooking business in your parents' convenience store?
That started... So I left Ohio in 2003.
Yeah.
When I got to Miami, my parents already had the store.
Okay.
And they were trying to do their little thing. And so I would help them a little bit while I was in culinary school, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me and my friends would go there after class and whatnot, and for my parents it was free labor, and for my friends it was you have your own commercial kitchen to play in and free food, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you had to work a little bit. So then I think in 2004 or something, I jumped off of culinary school and just went to the food and such.
Really?
Yeah, full time.
So 2004.
Yeah.
If you could go back to that 2004 Drew.
Uh-huh.
On his first business, cooking, what would you tell? Like if you could give yourself like a piece of advice.
Go back then, knowing what I know now?
Yeah, to that 2004 Drew, who is just starting this food business.
I would have
in his parents' store.
I would tell him to block out the noise.
Yeah.
There's a lot of noise in my life then.
Then there was?
Yeah. I would tell him to block the noise out.
Yeah.
And grab this plow and don't let go.
Yeah.
If I would have done that, I'd be retired today. My whole family would be retired.
Because now you have the vision.
I have the vision, and I have an appreciation for that opportunity that I didn't have then.
Yeah.
Listen, Miami is a huge city. Huge. Miami makes Atlanta look like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, especially these little cities in metro Atlanta.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My parents owned a 2,000 square foot convenience store at one of the busiest intersections in Miami.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
It was surrounded by foot traffic, commercial, businesses, and residential.
Perfect.
Perfect. It would share the parking lot with a school, college dormitories, a laundromat, and it was across the street from Miami's biggest Chevy dealership. Everything was right there. Publix, Pizza Hut. Perfect. I mean, perfect. But for me, back then, I couldn't. There was a lot of noise coming from my parents, coming from my friends, just distraction.
Yeah.
I would tell 2004 Drew, block the noise out.
Before we get to Pinks, because I want to spend some time on that journey, I want to ask you, since we're right here in kind of like the middle of your life, on this journey here.
Yeah.
Who do you think were your like 3 biggest inspirations? Like
inspirations,
or it doesn't even have to be both. You know, it can be career, life. It can be whatever you want.
My parents.
Your parents.
My sister Sophie. And
is it hard to pick the third? Like narrow it down, or is it?
I'm gonna say my wife.
Yeah, that's such a good answer. I love that answer.
So my parents.
I love that answer.
My parents and Sophie.
Yeah.
They're the steel and frame around the car.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Gwen's the motor.
She makes it go.
Everything, she makes it all work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have such a desire to keep a promise I made to her parents when I asked them for their daughter's hand. I promised them that I would, with everything in me, at least give her everything they did. That's every day. Period. She's got to have a good life. Her parents, she comes from a good background.
Yeah.
So between how I was raised and that promise,
Yeah.
that's it. Or it shapes everything. They shape everything.
That's awesome. I love that answer. I love that answer.
Yeah. That was an intense question. I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to stop it. I just wanted to make sure we hit that.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, we'll get rolling, man. You know what I mean? And I just want to make sure we cover those things. Like, there's...
Yeah, Godfrey and Hazel Chambers, Sophie Williams, and Gwen Chambers.
Yeah. Come on.
Without them, you don't got me.
I love Pink's Barbecue. You guys are doing awesome. You're setting up like almost every weekend now.
I'm trying, you know.
You're setting up almost every week. Look, with this whole process, this whole entrepreneur process,
Yeah.
and getting Pink's to where it is now, which I know isn't even where you want it to be.
Not even close.
Like I know you're starting out compared to where you want to be.
Brand new.
Yeah. What would you say is like the biggest mistake or maybe the biggest failure that has, you know, you can go back to even 2004 Drew all the way to now. Like, what do you say would be one of the biggest mistakes or biggest failures that really changed you in your process, or maybe motivated you in a different way, or made you see things in a different light?
I don't know if it's a failure, but if we're talking about Pink's, the demise of the first partnership, Pink's 2014.
Yeah. I'm just talking about Andrew Chambers, the entrepreneur.
Yeah. So I'll say, so we had a partnership when we first started Pink's. Mm-hmm. That did not end well. A divorce happened with them, and that was rough.
Yeah. Because you love the fam, like
I love them.
that whole family you love.
I love them.
Yeah.
There would be no Pinks without them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when that went south, I was brokenhearted. Broken.
Yeah. Did you plan, was there ever a doubt in your mind that you were going to keep going with Pinks? Was it like after that split, after you broke with those original partners?
There was I knew Pinks was something, but then Pinks was just barbecue, like everyone knows barbecue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I
get
knew
some pulled pork.
Yeah, but I knew the business logistics behind Pinks, behind mobile barbecue, behind barbecue.
Yeah.
Were great. It's why some of the biggest food franchises are barbecue concepts.
Right.
Because the numbers work.
Yeah.
But when that happened, man, I felt like for a moment I was done.
Yeah.
With barbecue, done with people. But I'm an entrepreneur in my bones.
Yeah.
And I knew the logistics behind the business were good. And so I went to Georgia State. The third time at college, I went to Georgia State, and I was an entrepreneurship major. And they formed that curriculum around building a business.
Right. So you're learning how to start a business.
Yeah.
In that course at Georgia State. Yeah.
And so when it came time to really start diving into my major, Pinks just made sense to me. However, I knew I needed to do something to give Pinks a better value proposition, to make it stand out. And Georgia State really helped me drill down on that to get to the Pinks that's today. So that whole scenario, and then I think the other monumental situations were mine and Gwen's dads. I was talking to my father-in-law one time, and pretty much he told me, long and short of it was, he told me that he worked a job he hated for 30 years. Mm-hmm. My dad, I watched my dad turn people into millionaires. Mm-hmm. But he was always the guy who turned people into millionaires. He made good money. But he's walking away with six figures on paper, and people are walking away with millions. Cash. You know what I'm saying? Off of his back. And so I remember one day he got fed up. And he quit his job. He quit his job like literally a few years before retirement, like walked away from everything. And the first year after he quit his job, he made more money for himself than he had ever made prior out of our basement.
Really?
And his sentiment was, I wish I would have done that 30 years ago. Those two situations have shaped me for two reasons. One, I know I'm not made to work for people forever.
Right.
I just know that.
Right.
The other thing is, if you pay me $50, if that's what you pay me, how much am I making for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you pay me $50,000, how much am I making for you?
Right.
If you pay me $250,000, how much am I making for you? My goal is to make people's dreams come true. So I need that money. I need the money of the guy who can pay me six figures. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think those are the things that have shaped me entrepreneurially. And I just always saw it. My parents always had a hustle. You know, for me growing up, their primary hustle was real estate. Mm-hmm. But they always had a hustle, so it's just what I know.
Yeah, they're workers.
Period.
They've been working.
Period.
That's where you get it from.
Yeah. I would work a lot more if it wasn't for Gwen.
Really?
Yeah, when me and Gwen first got married, especially when we moved to Georgia, I couldn't find a job for a long time. It took me 6 or 7 months to get a job when I moved to Georgia. That never happened to me in my life. And then after that, I went into workaholic mode, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like
put in the hours.
Put in work.
Yeah.
Ain't no one gonna give you nothing, you know.
I can flip that switch. I know what you mean. I'll flip that switch.
And you know, Gwen, it started to get to her.
Yeah.
And so I've learned to tone it back, even though that's all I know. My dad worked 7 days a week most of my life. You know what I mean? So It's just what I knew is like what you do. You know, you chill when you go on vacation, if you go on vacation. You know what I mean?
Right.
But other than that, but it's very difficult for me. I have to consciously make sure I don't dive into pinks because I have a 9 to 5, so
yeah,
I can't do pinks.
You have to think about it.
I can't do pinks Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I come home, I really want pinks to go. So my natural bent is to dive into pinks.
Right.
But I have to create the balance, you know, between my life, my marriage, my kids.
Yeah. Speaking of your kids, let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's touch on that for a minute, dude. When I met you, you guys were in the process of adoption already, I believe. I think you had already started the steps.
Maybe, yeah.
So that was 7-8 years ago, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I think you guys, I don't know. How long ago was it that you started the adoption process?
Around the same time, Pink, 2014, end of 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And so, when I met you guys, you were just starting that process.
Uh-huh.
And then you make it all the way to 2000.
I think we were like 4 years in or something.
18?
2018, yeah.
Right? 2017. So you're 3 years into the adoption process, raising money, jumping through all the hoops, doing everything you need to do, the background checks.
Yeah.
I mean, you did everything.
Yeah.
And you guys turn up pregnant.
We started trying to have a baby in 2012.
And that never stopped. Even when the adoption process started.
It never stopped.
You never stopped trying to have a kid.
No. Because we always knew we wanted a family. We always knew we wanted to have kids naturally, and we always knew we wanted to adopt. So it wasn't an either or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
For us, we feel like, we always felt like we wanted to have our natural children first, at least one, and then adopt.
So it kind of went according to plan. It's just...
just the timeline wasn't ours. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Isn't that so funny?
It's crazy,
You
right?
wanted to have your natural kids first.
Yeah. Someone walked up to us one day and said, I feel like the Lord is telling me to help you adopt a baby. And they gave us $10,000. They committed to giving us $10,000.
Did they know about the adoption before that?
No. I don't think they knew that it was on our heart.
Oh my God.
Anyway, we almost turned it down because we're like, are you trying to say we're not going to have a baby of our own?
So you started to get a little defensive?
Yeah, to us.
Was this
not
before
to them,
you
to
started
us.
taking the steps? Like you knew you wanted to adopt, but you hadn't necessarily contacted
we were
an
trying to
adoption
make a baby.
agency or
We were
anything
trying
like
to
that.
make a baby.
You were still trying to make a baby?
Yeah.
But this person's trying to give you 10 G's to go adopt one.
And so that's what the Lord showed us was like, I could understand being frustrated if you didn't already want to adopt.
Yeah.
But it was already a desire of our heart. And so then we were like, ain't too many people walking around handing out $10,000 checks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so,
So you contacted? Is that when you started like contacting
so then
an adoption
we started doing the
agency and
research.
stuff like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You accepted the 10K.
Yeah.
I would too.
We accepted a lot more than 10K.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you have to.
Yeah.
Eventually you have to. I took part in a lot of the
fundraising. You were there the whole time.
Whatever I could do. Yeah.
You were there
Especially
the whole time.
once we clicked. Like once we got close.
You were there the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now Ruby's here.
When you brought her home, dude.
Yo.
When you brought her home, I was a mess. I'm starting to tear up right now. I'm on camera. I can't do this stuff.
I'm trying to hold it together. If you want to see me cry, talk about my kids, man.
I mean, and I'm not throwing any shade at Titus by any means because I cried with him too.
Yeah, you did.
I cried when I held him too. Yeah. You know, he was such a blessing.
Yeah.
But when Ruby came home, like I couldn't function.
Yeah, me neither.
You know what I mean? Like, I was crying to the point where I couldn't, like, don't ask me to get a drink. Don't ask me to do anything.
When we went to pick her up, I couldn't even look at her for like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The social worker was like, is he going to hold her?
Yeah.
And Gwen's like, yo, you're going to have to just give him a second.
Yeah.
Because it's like this child that you're being blessed with, that you've been waiting for closer to a decade than not, was in 2 days. In 2 days was there.
Yeah.
We got a call on Wednesday. You got to pick her up by Friday. We had... And remember, a few months earlier, we had that mishap. We were told we had a baby.
Yeah.
And then the birth mother changed her mind.
Yeah.
And we didn't know.
Yeah.
So that wrecked us for a little bit, and then that brought us close to throwing the towel in on that thing, boy.
Yeah.
But we just knew what we were supposed to be doing, and the Lord brought it back quick.
Praise him.
Yeah.
Praise him.
Yeah.
He's so good.
All the time, man.
Look, man, this has been a great conversation. My battery's getting low.
We got so much more to talk about, though.
Dude, we've got. I've got another question. I want you to answer one last question. Hopefully the battery holds out.
Yeah,
Come on, baby.
I'll answer it quick.
What do you want written on your tombstone?
He was generous.